Actually, that they should have humanity with them. School should teach them humanity. I feel more privileged to be in this, to be in the NGO, because it gives me opportunity to meet more people and all.
Hello and a very warm welcome to Great Principles. I am Seema Choria. Today we have with us a woman of her dreams who has stretched herself thin over being the master of everything. She is a loving, caring and God-fearing person. With a purposeful career in education space spanning over 20 years, Dr. Jacqueline Mahadik has dedicated her life towards the promotion of child-centric and educational activities. A passionate educationist with a background of setting up and leading new age schools, Dr. Jacqueline Mahadik has been the founder principal of St. Joseph International School, Z.A. Memon School, and Trinity Global School. She has a doctorate in HRD management and holds postgraduate degree in 3 disciplines: management, airline management and airport management, and HRD management. She has received many awards and recognitions during her lifetime and during her illustrious careers, including Best Principal Awards 2018, International Education Summit, Best Teacher Award of Dr. Radhakrishnan in 2020, and Best Outreach Principal Award in 2021 by All India Principals Association, to name a few. She is a Maharashtra State Secretary of All India Principal Association, Brand Ambassador of Maharashtra State of IDYM Foundation, HR Manager of India of IDYM Foundation, Global Trainer Academy Country Coordinator for GTL, and co-founder of Visionary Edu Leaders. It's an honor and great privilege to welcome Dr. Jacqueline Mahadik, Principal EduSmart Digital School, Thane. Welcome to Great Principles, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Seema, ma'am, for such an wonderful and humble introduction you have given. I'm really honored. I feel privileged to be with you. Okay. To tell about myself, I'm a principal of EDUCO. To talk about myself, my background is from aviation industry. All my family belong to the aviation sector. My whole family is from aviation sector. I began my teaching career at very back in 2002, and I started up being with a coordinator and a teacher. I remember where I have started. Yes, I have climbed the level of success through it, and it was not easy. But if you believe yourself, sky is the limit, and it's just a beginning. I believe these days, principal don't play a single role. She has to cater to education profile as well as she has to be an entrepreneur at times. She has to make sure that the school progresses and make and all the amenities administrations have done according to the priority of the principal. So being a leader definitely has a lot of responsibilities. I'm glad that I'm surrounded by incredible leaders and I love following. Yes, we always say to be a leader, we should not be a follower. But for being a leader, we have to be followed those footsteps, and we have to look around for the works, follow the passion, and just follow the protocols. And I believe that empathic leadership is important. Feel for your people, those who are around you, and find a leader in them. Leader is someone who empowers leaders. So find different leaders around you and start delegating them.
Wonderful, ma'am. So, ma'am believes in empowering leadership and empathetic leadership. So, Jacqueline, ma'am is also known to be association with many of the social organizations out there. So, on this note, ma'am, we would like to know what is the vision of your school and what makes your school unique.
If I talk about my school, EduSmart Digital School, in a nutshell, yes, it caters to affordable sections and our vision and mission of our society, the Ken Education Society for our school, talks about reaching out to these sections which are not privileged, making it very affordable and accessible. Now, very soon, we will be launching our digital school, which are in the process of making, and this is a revolutionary project for us. It's happening for the first time where we are, and we will be the first to introduce the digital school in Ambadi, where we are right now in the rural area. We will be providing everything proper curriculum, robotics, and so on. And the best amenities to the school, which will be complete, which will have complete high-tech in making, and we will be launching it within 2 years. Our mission is to reach out to the children, and child center is the core, or to empower and give them all the 21st century skill required to be a part of alpha generations and to become a global citizen.
Wonderful school with an amazing philosophy of providing affordable education, yet a quality one, a quality education at affordable value. And yes, taking them to the rural segment where it is very much required. You know, education not only eliminates the poverty and illiteracy, it also teaches them values, life skills, and a lot more. So on this note, ma'am, we would like to ask you, what kind of changes do you perceive would be required for schools in new era of education, as you have your smart school? So what are the changes we require in our current schools?
There are a lot of changes actually which is required in the Indian educations now, and the NEP also has come up with a lot of changes, and it is much acceptable. But as for my, this is that part of the school is curriculum, and the curriculum art is the child. So first we have to think about child-centric. That is the biggest changes which we have to work out. The second is the school should eradicate the rote learning and be covered and be encouraged to introduce conceptual learning, where the students understand the concepts of the better. Instead of focusing on evaluation on 3-hour based exam, the focus of evaluation should be on classroom preparation by students, projects, communications, leadership skills, and extracurricular activities. Students should be rather pushed to pursue to have their own subjects instead of just pressurizing to take their subject, the school subjects. Teachers play a vital role in the life of the students. Teacher is the nation building. They build the nation builders. They build the children. So they should be given proper trainings. And we also know we are in the fourth era industrial revolution. Indian school must embrace technology and education with open art and propagate the same to the students, as that is their future. Schools need to realize that observations of the different children is different. In a class of 30, different children have different grasping powers. So, and it is not possible for a teacher to handle all 30 in a school. So, teachers have to adopt, the school has to adopt technology, artificial intelligence, and chat boxes, which can help be an helping hand for these subjects and teachers. Now, our education system is a colonial education, and like no, not all the people think that after education we can become big, we can become rich, but that should not be in the children. That should not be put by the school. Actually, that they should have humanity with them. School should teach them humanity. Okay. And students must be taught the in-depth about the moral of life and intellectual and humanistic values. They should be taught that life is much beyond money and success is not measured in money.
So wonderfully explained by ma'am. What we need to do is in the new era of schools. So we need to train our teachers. We need to have more child-centric schools. We need to focus on the uniqueness of the child and celebrate his strength and work on the weak areas. And the schools, when based on these philosophies, are definitely we can name it as a new era school. So ma'am, we were just talking about the child-centric approach and activity-based learning. So here I would like to ask you, what are the benefits of child-centric approach and activity-based learning?
Activity-based learning is a student-centric methodology where children learn various activities at their own pace. It is a core belief that the concepts are better understood through hands-on activities. It is a more engaging and interactive way of learning. Activity-based learning provides rich and interactive way of learning experience to the students, thereby building their knowledge, boosting their creative skills, and increasing conjunctive skills. Additionally, the self-confidence of the learners is boosted as they have explored but both familiar and unfamiliar concepts in creative ways. An old proverb says, give someone a fish to eat and you can help them not to starve a day, but teach them how to catch a fish and they will not go hungry on their life. Our vision should to be develop a skill-based education methodology which will facilitate self-learning.
Yeah, absolutely, ma'am. Teach them skill and they are on their own and independent and self-reliant. So education should actually be focused on making children more self-sufficient. Yeah. So on this note, ma'am, we move ahead. Ma'am, what in your opinion about different boards in India, and should there will be a centralized education board, and what will be the benefits and pitfalls of the same?
According to me, having centralized board is always a better option. No matter how hard, each state will try to improve education system in their respective one. There will always be a difference within the students from two states or a central board. India is already lagging behind in education. Hence, if the state implements better changes, it should be applied to other students to the country as well. Further, if the curriculum is in a particular state is that much better, then if the students are always better, occupied with knowledge compared to the other states students, and then its benefit should be accessible to others. Students also. Here, what I like to say, if there is uniformity, managing, changing, improving, and providing education to all, which might be making easier task. Also, if we can bring end to state boards and bring the CBSE or any other board, then it will boost up the confidence of the state board students. Also, the implementation of central board is a long-term process. We cannot suddenly impose central board. Government can make it mandatory to all the state of students who are admitted in the first grade from a particular year will have to follow central board curriculum, because then only the students are, more importantly, their parents will come out of the fear of higher difficulty level of CBSE. As now there is a fear in all the children, even the parents, that CBSE is much tougher than the state board. But it is not. If the government implements this at the grade level only, then they will understand that CBSE is not tougher, it's as good as the other boards. Government of India should surely face the opposition against the decision, but anyhow, there should be a common board for the whole country, be it CBSE or any other board. As far as my knowledge, I will tell that CBSE is the better board.
So if we take up the best of CBSE boards, the best advantages of CBSE board and compile that and bring out the one centralized board, it should benefit the citizens at large. Creating uniformity of structure and making education equal for all. So on this note, ma'am, we would move ahead. You have the long list of accomplishments. So which accomplishment you are most proud of?
My greatest professional achievement was completing my PhD degree in 9 years. Actually, it was 7 years, but I completed it in 9 years with a 3.8 GPA, and that was the biggest score which I got. I had to support my family, and there was no support from my family as well. And I had to do a lot of work and a full-time job at the time of pursuing my PhD. This taught me to prioritize my time, build great habits, and stay focused on my goals. I'm proud of this accomplishment, and I feel that what I learned at this time has given me a big advantage in my career.
So completing your PhD has been your biggest accomplishment? Yes. All right. So, ma'am, the journey is not always easy. There are challenges also. So we would like to know a challenge that came in your life and how did you face it?
The most important challenge is dealing with children, right? And especially on the crucial way to educate them, the kindness and positive culture in them. There are many different educational programs which we have implemented in different schools which I've been working, and a lot of success has come according to that. Okay. And as far as the bullying percentage of the children, there are a lot of bullying in this. We don't know it, but inside children it goes up. So I've reduced that up to 15% and increased 6% of my children's confidence level that they can come up and tell anything with the teachers. Or we also implemented different emergency drills to help students to find more confident in case of real emergency. Knowing what to accept and reduce students' anxiety, we help them to focus more on learning and positive.
All right. Okay, so this was about the challenges and how ma'am overcame it. So now on this note, we reach to the very important, very interesting segment of the show. This is called rapid fire round. Ma'am, you have to answer in one word only. So here goes the first question. Describe your leadership style in one word.
Participative
Sorry?
leadership. Participative leadership.
Participative leadership. All right. Name a school principal you admire the most.
My old principal, my school principal, Mrs. Agni Dimulo.
All right. Next question. Which of the following is most important in learning-centered curriculum? Teacher, child, content, or environment?
Child, obviously.
Child. All right. What do you feel should be the most important consideration for parents while choosing the right school for their child?
Obviously, curriculum and philosophy is there, but school service and policies and after-school programs should be taken care of by the parents.
All right, very nicely explained this. Studying is not a passion in India, it's a race. Do you agree?
Yes, I do agree. It's a race.
Unfortunately, we all have to agree.
Yes.
Yeah, all right. What should be the ultimate goal of education?
Ultimate goal of education. Okay. According to me, education is the art of appreciating life. Its purpose is to teach us the values, develop stimulated intellectual understanding, tolerance, disagreeable belief system, dig out opportunities to question what exists, and contribute to the growth of human society.
All right. So today we have the goal of education with us, and this section has been answered brilliantly by ma'am. Now, ma'am, we know you on your professional front. Now, what does ma'am do when she's not working? What are your hobbies or sports you're involved into, and how do they help you?
My favorite hobby is sports, but right now we cannot do all that. But again, one more favorite hobby is nearly 6-7 years I'm into it. It's my voluntary work. If in a month, every Sunday we go to an NGO, which we have all planned, which friends with the church friends have come together. And we have planned up an NGO of a good cause. Here we come together, pile up the money, and we get food packages, and we distribute among the poor people in the community. I feel more privileged to be in the NGO because it gives me opportunity to meet more people and all, and it allows me to have the passion of giving back. What I got, the passion of giving it back.
Yeah. So giving back, the joy of giving back can only be felt. And ma'am loves to be part volunteering and helping out people out there. That is what she does when she's not working. And that is what gives her joy. So on this note, we reach to the last question of the show, which is also called viewer's choice question, ma'am. Due to COVID-19, the learning loss has been enormous. So the question on everyone's mind is, how do we help students who have fallen behind to catch up? In your opinion, what should be the best approach to help students catch up?
According to me, is that students' engagement and relationship building should be the first thing which is reached up with this. Then there should be high quality of curriculum which can be understood by the children. Then the teaching time should be the maximum, and the interruptions in that we should be minimized. Then the priorities we should be given to the students and their needs, not only their learning needs, but other needs also we have to take care of, so that we will know what the students are going through. Okay. And we have to train our staff because it's necessary. After COVID, it will be learning system is really gone. So our teachers should know how to be well versed with the students, to take care of them, and expensive. All the costs should be cut down, and online tutoring also, we should do hybrid training also to the students, like even on, if it is offline, it can be online also, and homeschooling also, like that. Students, if we go on doing that, it will be very easy for us to catch up with students.
All right, so adopting a hybrid model is the key, and helping teachers to analyze each student's need is again required here, so that the catch-up lessons can be planned and taken care of. So this was Jacqueline Mahadik ma'am. She has given us a lot of insights and a lot of value, and we totally enjoyed the discussion with you, sharing your vision, your thoughts. It was truly delightful to have you on Great Principles. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you very much.